Welcome to my presentation. My topic is Other Novelist of the Renaissance Age. Now, let us move into our first novelist, Captain Frederick Marryat. Marryat was born in Great George Street, Westminster, London, the son of Joseph Marryat. Captain Frederick Marryat was a Royal Navy officer and a novelist. He is noted today as an early pioneer of nautical fiction, particularly for his semi-autobiographical novel Mr. Midshipman Easy in 1836. He is remembered also for his children's novel The Children of the New Forest in 1847. From 1832 to 1835, Marryat edited the Metropolitan magazine. Additionally, he kept producing novels. His biggest success came with Mr. Midshipman Easy in 1836. Marryat was also known for short writings on nautical subjects. These short stories, plays, pieces of travel journalism, and essays appeared in the Metropolitan magazines too and were later published in book form as Ola Podrida. Marryat's 1839 Gothic novel, The Phantom Ship, contained the White Wolf of the Harz Mountains, which includes the first female werewolf to appear in a short story. In 1839, Marryat also published his Diary in America, a travelogue that reflects his criticisms of American culture and society. The book and the author were both subject to acts of violence, including the burning of the book and of Marryat's effigy in public. Our second novelist, Edward Bulwer Lytton. Edward Bulwer Lytton was an English writer and politician. He served as a Whig Member of Parliament from 1831 to 1841 and a Conservative from 1851 to 1866. He was Secretary of State for the colonies from June 1858 to June 1859, choosing Richard Clement Moody as founder of British Columbia. He declined the crown of Greece in 1862 after King Otto abdicated. He was created Baron Lytton of Knebworth in 1866. His marriage to the writer Rosina Bulwer Lytton broke down. Her detention in an Indian asylum provoked a public outcry. Bulwer Lytton's work sold and paid him well. He coined the phrases "the great unwashed," "pursuit of the almighty dollar," "the pen is mightier than the sword," and "the dweller on the threshold," and the opening phrase "it was a dark stormy night." Bulwer Lytton's literary career began in 1820 with the publication of a book of poems and spanned much of the 19th century. He wrote in a variety of genres including historical fiction, mystery, romance, the occult and science fiction. Bulwer Lytton reached his height of popularity with the publication of Godolphin in 1833. Bulwer Lytton also wrote the horror story The Haunted and the Haunters or The House and the Brain in 1859. Another novel with the supernatural theme was A Strange Story in 1862, which was an influence of Bram Stoker Dracula. Our third novelist, George Barrow. Barrow was born at East Dereham, Norfolk, the son of an army recruiting officer. His father, a lieutenant with the West Norfolk Militia, was quartered at the prisoner of war camp at Norman Cross from July 1811 to April 1813, and George spent his 9th and 10th years in the barracks there. He was educated at the Royal High School of Edinburgh and Norwich Grammar School. George Barrow was an English writer of novels and of travel books based on his personal experiences in Europe. During his travel, he developed a close affinity with the Romani people of Europe who figure prominently in his work. His best known books are The Bible in Spain and the novels Lavagro and the Romani Rey, recalling his time with the English Romanical. Barrow's precocious linguistic skills as a youth made him a protege of the Norwich-born scholar William Tyler, whom he depicted in his autobiographical novel Lavagro in 1851, and as an advocate of German Romantic literature. Recalling his youth in Norwich 30 years earlier, Barrow depicted an old man Tyler and a young man Barrow discussing the merits of German literature, including Johann Wolfgang von Goethe's The Sorrows of Young Werther. Tyler confessed himself to be no admirer of either The Sorrows of Young Werther or its author, but he stated, "It is good to be a German. The Germans are the most philosophical people in the world." A fourth novelist, Charles Lever. Lever was born in Amiens Street, Dublin, the second son of James Lever, an architect and builder, and was educated in private schools. His escapades at Trinity College Dublin in 1823 to 1828, where he took the degree in medicine in 1831, are drawn on for the plots of some of his novels. In 1833, he married his first love, Catherine Baker, and in February 1837, after varied experiences, he began publishing the Confessions of Harry Lorrequer in the recently established Dublin University magazine. In 1831, after study at Trinity College, Cambridge, he qualified for the practice of medicine. In 1837, the Confessions of Harry Lorrequer appeared serially in the Dublin University magazine, where it was a definite success. His novel Charles O'Malley, which ranges from the west of Ireland to the Peninsular War, appeared in 1841. Jack Hinton and Tom Brooke of Us, a vigorous story of an Irishman in the service of the French Empire in 1843. In 1842, Lover assumed the editorship of the Dublin University magazine. He travelled to the European continent in 1845, visited resorts and served as British consul at La Spezia and Trieste. He continued to write novels, among them The Knight of Gwyn in 1847, Confessions on Concregan in 1849, and Roland Cashel in 1850. This novel marked a transition from the loosely constructed works of his youth to the less ebullient, more analytic manner of his last books, among which are The Fortunes of Glencore in 1857 and Lord Kilgowen in 1872. Our final novelist, Elizabeth Gaskell. Elizabeth Clinghorn Gaskell, often refers to as Mrs. Gaskell, was an English novelist, biographer, and short story writer. She was the daughter of the Unitarian minister. When her mother died, she was brought up by a maternal aunt in the Cheshire village of Knutsford in a kindly atmosphere of rural gentility that was already old fashioned at the time. In 1832, she married William Gaskell, a Unitarian minister, and settled in the overcrowded, problem ridden industrial city of Manchester, which remained her home for the rest of her life. Domestic life. The Gaskells had 6 children, of whom 4 daughters lived to adulthood, and the social and charitable obligations of a minister's wife claimed her time but not all her thoughts. She did not begin her literary career until middle life, when the death of her only son had intensified her sense of community with the poor and her desire to give utterance to their agony. Her first novel, Mary Batten, reflects the temper of Manchester in the late 1830s. It is the story of a working class family in which the father, John Batten, lapses into bitter class hatred during a cyclic depression and carries out a retaliatory murder at the behest of his trade union. Its timely appearance in the revolutionary year of 1848 brought the novel immediate success, and it won praise of Charles Dickens and Thomas Carlyle. Among her later works, Sylvia Lovers in 1863, dealing with the impact of the Napoleonic Wars upon simple people, is notable. Her last and longest work, Wives and Daughters in 1864 to 66, concerning the interlocking fortunes of 2 or 3 country families, is considered by many her finest. It was left unfinished at her death. Thank you.